there was something really interesting that you said a while ago. I mean, there's a lot of information, but you were talking about the back to the 2017 prices in one of your posts. And the number, correct me if I'm wrong here. The number that you said there was only a difference, I guess this was in Niagara, of $50,000
So
from
no,
2017.
this was national prices, right?
National
So
prices. Okay,
yeah, so this
sorry.
is the national average in Canada. And again, it's hard to like put stuff out on just on Niagara because people are like, yeah, who cares about Niagara? Like
Right.
tell me Toronto, right? So then then if you go Toronto, people are like, well, Vancouver is different. Well, so it was the national.
So that was the national.
So we
Okay.
got down to in January 2023, which of course the winter is always the low point, right? We were down to $612,000 for the national average residential price. And in 2017, at the peak, now this was at the peak in 2017, which 2017 was a stellar year in Canada. We were up to, I'm just trying to remember, it was $53,000 off. So 559 we were at. So we had a $53,000 difference, if the math's correct there, but it was a $53,000 difference between 2017 and last year. So people like when they think you're crazy, it's never going to go, it's only going to go up. Well, no, we
It's not
were
that
close.
much.
And
Yeah.
$50,000, we do that in a month sometimes
Yeah.
right? So
So that okay, and that was I wanted to bring this in here because when I heard you say that, I had this idea in my head. You know what? I'm going to look at a neighborhood in Ottawa, and I'm gonna take townhomes, 3-bedroom townhomes with a finished basement as like my test group. And I went back from 2017, and I did all the way to 2024, and it's staggering. So the average list price in this one community of Ottawa, in Barhaven, this suburb of Ottawa in the
oh
south.
yeah, Barhaven, yeah.
You know, Okay, so the
Had a
average
few you had a
price.
few fires over there. Sorry, yeah.
Yes, there's been fires and explosions all over Ottawa. The average price was about 304,000, and then the average sale price was 301,000. Now if there's a graph that I have, it goes all the way up, but now it went way up to 681 in 2022, down to 608 last year. Now we're back up at 642. So that's more than double in those 7 years for that
Yeah.
one community. And I imagine it's similar in a lot of suburbs in most cities. So when I hear that $50,000 difference Canada wide, it doesn't seem that substantial. But when you get down into your specific neighborhoods, it changes dramatically.
Yeah,
Right.
and I look at the rallies, right? I posted this, I have it in front of me right now, so I can quote it. So like the national rallies that they're like $100,000 rallies in seasons. And in 2017, we were up 89 and then down 87. And we went up 119,000 in 2020, and then 2021, 113,000, then $154,000 rally to the peak. And then we dropped 187,000 starting in March 2022. And then we went up $117,000 last year, or maybe it was just or last spring. So it's just the volatility in the market's crazy. It's like Bitcoin, the real estate market, right? It's like
Pretty
it just
much.
rallies so aggressively. It's insane.
And those numbers that you're just quoting, is that national or is that Niagara region?
Yeah, these are the national averages. The national average price for Canada. It's on my X from April 16th, and I actually put those rallies and the declines in there to show, like it's like insane that we have these swings. Like so in Niagara, where I am, in the whole region, about 500,000 people. We had from February to March, it was like a $70,000 rally. And this year's not that great compared to last year, but just in 1 month, average price is up 70 grand. Like it's nuts, right?
Yeah.
And so how are you working with clients then and tempering that, when you've got such rallies, like peaks and valleys, timing, obviously it's seasonality, I would imagine, especially in that region. How do you work with clients then, or how are you guiding them when they're looking?
That's a good question. You should have asked it more aggressively. John, how do you sell any homes, buddy? So people always need to, like, when people are in the market and they're buying and selling, right? It's usually pretty easy. It doesn't really affect, because their house is up and they're going to buy something as long as they're not going too high, much higher than they were. But it's like, again, I'm dealing with people in the fall and they're like, yeah, well, I'm not in a rush to buy. And then prices are down. And then it comes to the spring.
Yeah.
And they're like, John, okay, we're going to buy before April. I'm like, you could have just bought for like 50 grand, like less. Like 2 months ago. But now things have started to subside again, right? So we had a big jump in March, and now those buyers are like, again, they're like, yeah, I'm in no rush again. So now I always tell people, I tell them straight up, seasonality makes a huge difference. Like if you're going to buy now because that's the time and you need to buy for whatever reason, that's fine. But like, don't buy into the markets you think it's a spring rally and you're going to be priced out again, because we just keep seeing the same thing repeat over and over, but we're seeing it more aggressively. So there's more fear in the markets in the last few years than there was, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Yeah. So I'm like, if you like, now I'm telling people, so now I'm saying, look, we're getting into a good buying season now, because it looks like we've kind of passed that spring insanity. So the prices aren't going to, maybe May, we'll see what happens, but it looks like we passed that. So I said, you're getting into the good season, early summertime, you'll be able to save money and get some deals. Now, when it's first time buyers, I put my message out there. I'm like, don't buy into this market. But people, there's some good income earners out there, and they're not really that affected by prices and what's 100 grand or 200 grand. They prefer a home. So then that's a conversation where I say, look, if you're going to buy a home, just make sure that you're prepared that it could be down 100 grand in 12 months. Like if the economy weakens and unemployment rises, like I'm saying, like I call for with my home buying recipe, which it looks like we're headed that way now. Unemployment's rising, mortgage delinquencies are rising. There's a good chance your house will be down. Whether I'm right or wrong, you have to be prepared. And that's the conversation I have, instead of just saying, don't worry, it's going to go up. Yeah, it might go down a bit, but it'll be back up, in a few years. Like, I don't like to spread that either. So just being honest, and they appreciate it, right?
Yeah, and I think you push it like how we do. I'll push it. It's just like, I always have the conversation with people. I say, look, if you don't don't try to predict the market and what you're going to earn in your home, like a stock or anything. Just if you need a place to live, buy it to live there. You're going to stay 5-10 years. You're not moving in with your family to flip a house, to make an extra 100 grand or leverage it into investment property, which is basically kind of like, seems like a silly idea now to most people.
Yeah. Now that's another issue too, is I'm actually going to do like a little video, one of my on the ground videos this week, I think, about it. But it's a tough proposition when you're like, here, you can rent this house for $2,500 a month, but this house over here, you give the bank 100 grand and you can have this for 3,500 a month.
Yeah.
and 2,000 is going to interest. So like, it's a tough proposition, but again, everyone's different. And if that's what they want, that's what they want. But again, this is how I explain it to them. And they're like, yeah, no, we're sick of renting and we want to buy. And, as long as you're out there and, I'm not a salesperson, I'm a customer service person. I want to do what's best for the client. And I guess fully informing them is what's best. And there's realtors get a bad name. And I want to say, like, I know so many good realtors and they feel exactly like, and a lot of you guys would have similar thoughts to me, not all of them, obviously, but they don't want to go out there and say what I say, because, they got to make a living and it might look bad for their sellers too. They're more worried about their seller clients. Like, how are they going to hire you? And you're like, the market's going to go down. And
thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, because we'd really like that.